Yesterday forenoon, a revelation of the most harrowing character was brought to light at Blackburn. On Tuesday afternoon, a girl 7 years of age named Emily Holland and daughter of a mechanic was missed from home. A search was made by police, but without success. Yesterday morning, a trunk of a female child was found in a field on the Whaley Road. The body was minus the legs, arms and head, these having been apparently chopped off by a hatchet. Hello and welcome. So today's video is going to be a true crime video about the murder of a young girl. On the 30th of March 1876, Alice White was minding her business, getting on with the tasks she needed to do that day, when a neighbour's child came up to her and told her that they had seen a dog sniffing a parcel in the field next to the local cemetery. Alice decided to investigate the parcel, which turned out to be a bundle of newspapers. But when she inspected what was underneath the newspapers, she made a grim discovery. Concealed by the newspapers was the dismembered torso of a child. The child's limbs and head were missing. Alice informed the police of her discovery. The police came to investigate, but they already had their suspicions about who the child was. 2 days earlier, 7-year-old Emily Agnes Holland had disappeared from the area. She had last been seen on the 28th of March 1876 running an errand for the nice man she had just met. Emily's friends asked her if she would like to play with them, but Emily replied that she couldn't as she was going to buy some tobacco for her friend, but told them that she would come and play with them after she had finished her errand. Children in the Victorian times were allowed to buy tobacco as long as they had a note from an adult saying that they could. Emily was by all account a really lovely girl who was always willing to help out other people. When Emily did not return home that evening for tea, her father contacted the police and a search was started to look for her. Emily's friends were spoken to and they told the police about Emily running the errand for a man, but no one knew who this man was. She was seen many times by people before her death. 12-year-old Mary Ellen Eccles had spoken to Emily just after 4 p.m, where Emily had told her about running an errand for her new friend. She was then spotted with a stranger wearing a mixed cloth coat, a billycock hat, yellow waistcoat and dirty black trousers and clogs. The 2 boys that had served Emily the tobacco were probably the last people to see her alive. The body was taken to Blackburn Town Hall, where Emily's parents were brought in to see if they could identify the body as that of their daughter. Emily's mother was able to identify the body as Emily's due to her skinny ribs and small bones. The next day, 4 miles away from the field that Emily's body had been found in, Richard Fairclough saw a man acting suspiciously by a drain. Richard went to investigate, and in the drain he found Emily's legs wrapped in pages from the Preston Herald newspaper. Emily's body was examined by Dr. Maitland, the police surgeon. He found that Emily's thigh bones had been shattered and that her legs had been removed from her torso with a large blade. Emily's throat had been cut, which had severed the windpipe before her head had been removed. Dr. Maitland also found that Emily had been raped before she had been killed. The inquest into Emily's death opened on the 31st of March. Early theories leaned towards Emily's killer being a tramp or vagrant. Her friends had described seeing Emily with a scruffy-looking man. People also felt that it was unthinkable that such a crime could have been committed by an upstanding member of the community, so the investigation concentrated on the area's tramp population. It was pointed out that the tramps do not keep consecutive copies of newspapers, but this was ignored and 12 men were arrested in connection with Emily's murder. But they were discharged due to lack of evidence. Searches were carried out to find Emily's missing body parts, and the government offered a £200 reward to anyone who could provide information about Emily's killer. But it was the newspapers that Emily was wrapped in that proved the main evidence that caught her killer. During his examination, Dr. Maitland had discovered that Emily was covered in lots of different hairs. These hairs had been cut with either some scissors or a razor. This made detectives think that the hairs had come from a barber shop. The police started to search barbershops, and on the 8th of April, a barbershop on Moss Street that belonged to a William Fish was searched. William Fish was born on the 1st of April 1851 in Darwen. William had married Elizabeth Green in 1871 and they had 2 children. He had had a troubled past though, after being orphaned at the age of 15. He spent his teenage years in the workhouse and by the age of 25 had a number of convictions to his name. Rumours started going around saying that Emily's head was in William's barber shop, so a crowd started to gather outside. One woman walked into the shop saying that she was only there to see a murderer with her own eyes, and children chanted, "Who killed little Emily?" The search of William's shop did not turn up anything, so the police were unable to arrest him. William asked the police to help stop the harassment. The police reached a dead end and the public started to grow restless. But then Preston man Peter Taylor offered up the use of his 2 dogs to try and find Emily's missing body parts. His dogs were a bloodhound called Morgan and a Clumber Spaniel. The police accepted the help and the dogs were taken to the field where Emily's torso had been found, but the dogs were unable to find any more clues. They were then taken to William Fisher's barber shop. In an upstairs room, Morgan the bloodhound approached the fireplace and began howling. Police searched the chimney and, wrapped in her own clothes and partly burnt, they found Emily's head and arms. William Fish was arrested. He denied any involvement in Emily's murder but could not explain how Emily's head and arms had managed to get up his chimney. William was taken before the magistrate on the 17th of April, where he was charged with the murder of Emily Holland. William at this point decided to confess. William said that on the 28th of March he had seen Emily walking past his barber shop, so asked her to go and buy some tobacco for him. When Emily returned, he invited her into the shop, where upstairs he had raped her and then cut her throat and dismembered her body with his cutthroat razor. He had burnt Emily's arms in the fireplace before putting them and Emily's head up the chimney and disposing her other body parts. So William's trial was at the Liverpool Assizes. He did try to plead insanity, but the jury did not believe him and found him guilty of her murder, and he was sentenced to death. On the 10th of August 1876 at 8 a.m, William Fish was hanged. In his final statement, he urged other people not to follow the path that he had. Emily was buried in Blackburn Cemetery. She was buried in a polished oak coffin with silver mouldings. Now, this was the first time in England that dogs had been used to help find human remains. And the case also highlights the Victorian stereotype that the murderer must have been like a tramp or a vagrant, because they thought that no upstanding member of the community could commit such a crime, and that only those at the bottom of society could do such a thing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.